Today on the channel, our Jakks weekly deep dives continue with the Canadian and American Hulk Hogan Walmart exclusives. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for our weekly deep dive into the Jakks Classic Superstars series. Some of my favorite videos we do on the channel. We've been going a year strong doing these deep dive on the Jakks Classic Superstars figures. Right now we're currently working on the exclusives, but go back in the playlist on my channel if you missed any of the Jakks videos. We did the single carded, we did the 2-packs, we did the 3-packs, we've done a lot of limited edition ones. And we still got a long ways to go. We still got a lot of other limited edition packs. We still got the deluxe classic superstars. We definitely got enough figures probably to bring us through the rest of the year. But if you missed any, go back. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Like I said, every single Tuesday, we have a new Jakks Classic Superstar video. You too can be a Jakks Classic Superstars expert. But today, we got something special, something a little different. We got the Hulk Hogan Canadian and American Walmart exclusives from the Jakks Classic Superstars line. A very, very interesting thing here. And like Jakks we've talked about in the past, specifically with the 2-packs and the 3-pack figures. Now, whenever Jakks had a wrestling, we're talking wrestling space, whenever Jakks had an exclusive item to a retailer, they would not promote these on social media. Well, there wasn't social media. This is 2006 we're talking about, so about 15 years ago. They wouldn't really promote them online. We would get selling, you know, here's what's coming for the regular Classic Superstars lines. But as we knew, the 2-packs were a Toys R Us exclusive. The 3-packs were a Walmart exclusive. Those would just show up because Jakks didn't need to put their funds to promote retailer exclusives. The retailer would pay for these items, they would get them in, and it was up to them to promote these things. So we would see some Jakks Classic Superstars 2-packs and kind of the Toys R Us flyers every once in a while, stuff like that. It was up to the retailer to promote these figures. And we got a little bit of that with these as well. As this out of the blue, this is how I remember it. So if you guys remember this differently, please leave a comment. But I remember, I believe it was probably wrestling figure boards back in the day. That was pretty much where you got the majority of your wrestling news. Once again, social media was in its early stages. It wasn't like it is now for sure. A wrestling figures message board where you got a lot of news. And somebody posted that up in Canada, hey, I found these Hulk Hogan figures. And everybody, you know, screamed foul because we didn't know these were coming. And that was the state of the business back then. So it was truly a surprise. And being a Classic Superstars completist at the time, I just pounded my head on the table and said, are you kidding me? Canada exclusive? Nothing against you Canadians out there. And you guys feel the same way when you see American exclusives, I'm sure. And you bring the UK guys into it as well. They say, hey, or anywhere in the world, really, because obviously living in America, there's definitely your advantages for the toy industry. I think we'd all agree with that, and we all take that for granted for the most part. I do feel bad for some of the guys in the UK that we hear from, Canada and other countries, that struggle to get these exclusives. But for once, it was flipped a little bit, and Canada had these Hulk Hogans. I said, you've got to be kidding me. What do they got Hulk Hogan for? How does that work? How am I going to be a completist? How am I going to get these? eBay was around, but it was just a different time. It wasn't as easy. Obviously, with social media, you can make friendships with people all over the world to trade stuff with. It works out really good. Back in 2006, there was some of that, but not to the degree we're at today. So let me get to it first. I guess before we get too deep into it, let's show these figures here. So we got Hulk Hogan, we got the Canadian exclusive right here, and we got the other Canadian exclusive right here. So here's what happened. Here's what happened here. So these did release up there, and then we started hearing, hey, people were getting cases of each one up there in the Walmarts. So I don't know how, obviously very rare, but not as rare as a regular exclusive from ringside, I would imagine, or a toy fair, of course. But nobody ever said, it was never announced how many of these were made, and it was just really weird. But it was 2006. We've talked in our Classic Superstars videos about Classic Superstars Series 8 back in the day. I believe Series 8, yeah. When Hulk Hogan came into the Classic lineup, that was the shot in the arm the Jakks Classic Superstars line needed. They capitalized on that and said, let's get some more Hulk Hogans out. And that's exactly what they did, and they got them to Canada. So very frustrating. We wanted our Hogans. We wanted these, especially completists out there, and had no idea how are we going to get these. That's what we all said. So we had these two here come. But then, I want to say it was about a month later. Somebody, once again in the comments, if you heard differently or you remember differently, but I remember it was about a month. I remember sweating about this. Could have been 3 weeks, whatever it was. sweating over this, trying to figure it out, when all of a sudden, once again, another post on the wrestling figure message boards, I'm sure it was, we got a note out there. Hulk Hogan was hitting Walmarts in America. I'm pretty sure it's Walmart. For some reason in the back of my head, I feel like these were at Toys R Us too, but I believe it was Walmart in both countries. Once again, somebody want to correct me if I'm wrong, but same thing. Same cases, all that kind of stuff going on, but different figures a little bit different. We'll show it here. We're going to do the normal look at all these like we always do. A little bit difference here, but a lot of us were totally relieved when we ended up getting these in America, saying, oh, I don't need those Canadian versions anymore. That's all. That works out really good for me. So I was very happy, got these, called it done. Until a couple of years ago, and I said, you know what? There's a couple of straggler variants out there that I really count as part of the core traditional figures. And the Canadian ones were a part of that. They have some differences. We're going to talk about that in a second. But a couple years ago, I said, you know what? I got to track those Canadian ones down. And they're getting harder and harder to find. They're all getting harder to find as every day goes on, as you guys are probably fully aware. But I did track down these Canadian ones to go with my American ones. So let's do it. Let's take a look at the packaging, take a look at them, and kind of point out the differences and all that and talk about it a little bit like we normally do in these classic videos. But there he is. This is more of a modern-day Hulk Hogan for 2006, of course. We have gotten similar Hulk Hogans in the Ruthless Aggression line. I know there was a WrestleMania 2-pack with Randy Orton. What was the other pack? There was another pack, but we got a couple of Hulk Hogans in the current state of Hulk Hogans, and that's what this really does represent to me. I always kind of felt this was modern-day Hogan in the Classic Superstars line. I didn't gripe about that. Hogan felt okay to be in the Classic Superstars line, but you guys have known we have some characters over the years where we said they don't feel like they were classic at the time, but the beauty of the Classic Superstars line truly is, all these years later, guys from 2006 or whatever it was are truly classic now. So it stands the test of time. It really does work out. And Hulk Hogan, obviously a classic, Mount Rushmore for wrestling. He has to be on there. It makes sense for him to be in the Classic Superstars line in any gear he's in. But this always, to me, represented more of a modern-day Hulk Hogan, the Hulk Still Rules era. You know, his DVD box set was coming out, all that kind of stuff going on. But this is the Canadian exclusive version, as you guys are fully aware here. And you can't miss on these Canadian ones. You can see that maple leaf right there, Canada exclusive, right there on the thigh. Absolutely hate that. So we know we don't like that a whole lot. We see that with a lot of the Toy Fair ones. We saw it with the Jakks Ruthless Aggression and Best Of sets every end of the year. No kid wants to play with a toy that has a stamp like that on their leg, but I understand these are for collectors more. The Superstars are more for the adult collectors out there. We understand that, but it is a bit of an eyesore, I felt. No matter what it is, be it Toy Fair exclusive, 1/100, whatever it is, always an eyesore to me. I don't know about you guys, but you can tell me in the comments. But I never liked it. But it does truly set this apart. And you guys know right away this is the Canadian one. Just looking at the bubble, you could tell this is the Canadian and not the American version because of that. I would much have rather seen a Canadian sticker on there like we've seen in the past. I think that would have been a better way to go about it. He does come with the heavyweight title, so you can see that there. And he does have his hard goods shirt on as well. But yeah, not a bad Hogan. They reused this Hogan head scan quite a few times over the years. It also has the Canadian exclusive right here you guys can see, of course. And then on the back, limited edition. There it is. Hulk Hogan, nice glamour shot up there. We'll read his little blurb. We're showing the other Canadian exclusive. We'll get to that in a second. You got the UPCs, warnings down below, all that kind of fun stuff. Like I said, 2006 this came out. And let's see what it says about old Hulk Hogan. Debuted 1978, 275 pounds, 6'7", finishing move, the leg drop. Titles, WWE Champion, WCW Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion, WWE Royal Rumble winner, WWE Hall of Fame inductee. Favorite quote, what you gonna do, brother, when Hulkamania runs wild on you? There you go. So collect them all, it says, and that's exactly what I did. I didn't want to be a punk, so I collected them all. And this is the Canadian version. Of course, I did forget to show that little glamour shot on the side, of course. How dare I? And Hulk Hogan on the side. So there you go. Now we turn our attention to the other one. Now, this one is interesting. So here's where my mind went with this, and you guys may think differently. You might think this is more of American-made Hulk Hogan out there, possibly. But to me, this was RIP. That's what I thought in my head. I used to display this right next to the Zeus Classic Superstars figure, one of the great deep cuts of the Classic Superstars line that I wish we could get a Zeus one day. Hopefully there's going to be a San Diego Comic-Con RIP and Zeus 2-pack one day. I think that would print money, take all our money. You better make a lot of those because that would be a popular one. we'd all love to have that. But I always thought of this as Rip Hulk Hogan, just because of the blue, and that's whenever I see Hulk Hogan in the blue, I always think of No Holds Barred movie. Maybe you're different than me, you can let me know in the comments, but I always thought of this as Rip. But there it is, there's Hulk Hogan. But it really is truly, I think, earlier Hulk Hogan, almost pre-Hulkamania or beginnings of Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. And this is an easy repaint of Hulk Hogan figures. We saw this Hulk Hogan head, I believe, in the Classic Superstars Series 8. We saw it with the Roddy Piper ring. There was a main event single box pack, so they got a lot of use out of this head sculpt on the Hulkster here. But a plain Jane Hulkster, but to me this will always be Rip Hulkster, even if that's not truly what it was intended to be. That's what it reminds me of. Love the heavyweight title with him with the silver, the old school belt. Nice popping color. You usually see the gold. The silver is a nice change of pace, if you ask me. Canadian exclusive right under the Classic Superstars emblem right there, as usual. And then you got that big eyesore on his thigh, of course, that Canadian maple leaf. Nothing against the Canadian maple leaf, but I would have rather seen it as a sticker on the package. I just think most of us would have assumed it rather that way. Hulk Hogan on the side, of course. And Hulk Hogan on the side, looking a little like he can look. And then you get to the back. So you got the glamour shot for this figure. Kudos, Jakks. I could have seen them just using the same Hogan head for all of them. They luckily did not do that. But then all the blurb, everything else is the exact same, if I'm correct here. It is. The whole tail of the tape is the exact same, which I guess it technically really should be. I guess that's kind of the way it goes. But I keep saying it, 2006, Canadian exclusive. So there it was. That was the bane of my existence. I sweated it out for a month. Maybe it was longer than that. I can't remember. But it was a scary time for us collectors out there. And it was just a whole different world. It's really tough to go back. You could almost do a video about classics, and maybe we will one day, just kind of how we found out our news, how things came, and maybe a lot of research. But even back to the Hasbro days, I mean, as a little kid, you went to the store and you would just see a whole new set and it would just blow your mind. That is something that's truly missing in action figures in general now. There's very, very few surprises. Once in a blue moon, we get a surprise on the retail pegs, but there's just something magical that a lot of collectors and a lot of kids will never experience because they know what's coming ahead of time. And that's just, I get it, because you want to promote your goods, you want to sell them, you got to get the hype train going. Just a different time, and we'll never see it again. It truly was a magical time. And I sometimes ask myself, if I was growing up in this day and age, would I be a toy collector like I am? I probably would not be. I'd probably be like every other kid on an iPad or something like that. Who knows? So it's interesting to think of and a little sad to think about. You know, being born in a golden age of toys really got me going here. But that's neither here nor there. But what is here is the American exclusives here. So let's do it. Let's talk about the American exclusives. And there are some a lot of similarities actually, but a lot of differences here. And we're going to show it, you know, the same figures, all that kind of stuff, but we'll put them side by side here. So you can see the first thing I noticed was one has Hogan with two hands down, the Canadian exclusive. One has Hogan with one hand up, one hand down. And then the title belts are switched in the opposite direction. So there is some differences. You got Canadian exclusive at the top there, just limited edition on this one. And then as you can see on the thigh on this one, there is no American exclusive or anything like that. So I do like that aspect of it. It doesn't have that taken away from the figure. So you can tell right off the bat there's some differences there. The same sides, same exact sides there. But then the back is where we get to a different level as well. Move these around a little bit here. So on the back is where things change up. As you can see up top, you got glamour shots of both Hogans instead of just each one. So very smart on Jakks' part, saving money on packaging, printing the same back for both figures. That does work out pretty good. Yeah, and then the figures are in the same stance and everything else back there. So you do get some differences there. I found that to be very interesting. But yeah, like I said, found these at Walmart. I'm pretty sure Walmart. But yeah, there it is. I did notice he's got his knee brace on this one. He has it on this one too, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Okay. Knee braces on both of them. I almost thought that was something different there. But an interesting dynamic. Hulk Hogan, obviously a guy that moves a lot of units, especially back in 2006. It makes sense he would be a store exclusive. We talk about it a lot on the channel. Any toy company or any company in general, it says, hey, I want to give you an exclusive. Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, whoever it was at the time. Guess what? You throw that name Hulk Hogan at somebody, they're going to take that carrot. They know Hulk Hogan. They know that resonates with their consumers that shop their stores. They want a Hulk Hogan figure as a store exclusive. But if you came to them in 2006 and said, I've got, who from 2006? Val Venus or, Boogeyman, let's say, so, Ruthless Aggression era, Gemini 2-pack, or even JBL or somebody like that, it's not going to move the needle. That buyer isn't necessarily a toy fan. They're just maybe stumbled into this job at the corporate office. Maybe they used to be in charge of tires or baby food, and they got moved to the toy desk. It's tough times trying to resonate with that buyer in that desk. I've dealt with it in the past myself. It's just interesting. You want to believe everybody loves toys like we do, especially if you're in a buying position for Target or Walmart, but that is rarely ever the case. And I see it every day in my real world life. But that buyer is going to know the name Hulk Hogan. They're not going to know Gemini or JBL in 2006. Maybe they've heard it in passing, but they know business-wise what's going to move the needle. Hulk Hogan's going to move the needle. No different than this day and age. And like I said, I've had it in my past too, where I'm coming to a retailer saying, I have an exclusive item for you. Let's design something. They want something that's big. And I always have to have that conversation that I can't give you this main item that we can sell all across the world. I can't just give it to you in your 500 stores. It just doesn't work that way. I'll sell a lot more if I open it up to the whole world than just your 500. And sometimes you got to do that kind of stuff. So it's always a tough balancing act. And you use things like this as a seller at the corporate level. You dangle these Hulk Hogan carrots, these exclusive carrots. Guess what? Hey, I'm going to give you these Hulk Hogans, and you got to build your sales presentation, your sales story. I'm going to give you these Hulk Hogans. You know, the greatest wrestler of all time, the most known, one of the most known people in the world in pop culture and all this. You really talk it up. We're going to give you that, but in return for the next 6 months of planogram, instead of only having one shelf of or one peg of wrestling figures, I need two. I'll give you this, but I need two, and that's going to scratch each other's back a little bit. It's a little interesting dance, and I always put that business hat on every once in a while, just put my real world examples, but that's exactly how it goes, and that's how business is done. I don't care if we're talking Oreos, we're talking classic superstars, we're talking Matchbox. A lot of that stuff goes on. And hey, you take that guy out, that buyer out to a fancy dinner or something, you know, there's always those things. Not so much anymore. Golf used to be a big thing. Always the bane of my existence because I just have no patience for golf. I don't want to golf. I used to have to do like 12 golf outings a year. Anyways, I'm not going to get on a tangent here, but that's the way it works. So very interesting. I would love to hear the behind-the-scenes stuff. I wonder one day when Jeremy Padower, who's with Jazzwares now, when he retires, I could see him maybe writing a book. It'd be really interesting if he knows the deep stories on this. He probably doesn't. It's probably all forgotten with time. Think about your daily job. You probably don't remember stuff you did 15 years ago for the most part. Where were you when this happened? You just got to put yourself in those shoes. But I would love to hear the backstories of these. Maybe one day out there, there'll be the Great Jakks Classic Superstars book. Maybe I'll pen it. Maybe I'll put the pen to the paper. There you go. But anyways, it's been a long video, but it's an interesting one. These dynamics of regionality, country-exclusive Hulk Hogan figures. But you guys in the comments, let me know your thoughts here. Any thoughts on these? Do you remember these? Did you have the Canadian ones? Did you have the American ones? Did you have both? Did you even know both sets existed? Some of you guys probably didn't know that, and I wouldn't fault you for it. It's a pretty deep cut in the Classics Superstars world, but I figured this was the week to do Hulk Hogan, as we're doing a top 10 Hulk Hogan video on Thursday, so be prepared for that this week if you're watching it in real time. But there it is. You guys leave me the comment. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn the notification bell on. As of right now, we're on the march to 10,000 subscribers, and I can only get there if you help out. Yes, you sitting on the couch on your phone. Hit the old subscriber bell. And hit the old notification bell as well. So there you go. But follow me on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, and of course ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. So for Hulk Hogan from Canada to America, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.